Hello everyone, my name is Rainer, this is Rainier Books. Welcome to another edition of the videos from the balcony. It's still summer, and actually I wanted today to do a Sunday sum up, but actually I haven't read so much last week due to the fact that I was still working and I was watching a lot of football games from the European Championships of women's soccer in England. So I didn't read so much, but I worked actually a lot on literature. I worked on my Booker dozen list, and here it comes. Let's go. The Booker Prize will announce its Longlist next week on Tuesday. That is going to be the 25th or the 26th of July. Actually, it's next week anyway. And it will be a Booker dozen, which means it could be 12, which would be a dozen, right? But it also could be a Booker dozen. That means 13 books that are that get nominated, longlisted for the Booker of 2022. And the books that are eligible are books that have been published in the United Kingdom or Ireland from October 1 of 2021 until September 30 in the future of 2022. There are very strict rules. Each publisher can submit one title to the Booker jury, but then there are a lot of additional rules. That means, for example, if you have a winner, former Booker winner, or a shortlist author, you can submit this author's books anyway outside of your quota of one book. So there might be publishers who have 3 or 4 submissions. I haven't checked that. It's very complicated. It takes a lot of time. So what I did was I looked at the books that were published last year in this time from October 1 to September 2022 now, and I picked 13 books, my Booker dozen. I used a picker wheel on the internet to sort of decide in which order I would present the books. So here is my Booker dozen, and here is book number 1 on the Booker dozen list, which is Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield, published by Picador on March 3 of 2022. Julia Armfield is a very young author. She was born in London in 1990, and this is about a lesbian couple, Miri and Leah. Leah comes back from a sea mission that ended in a catastrophe. She's not the same anymore. She's totally different. And Miri is thinking about the memories that she had with Leah when Leah was the old Leah. And she thinks a lot about what kind of memories they have, while she at the same time feels that Leah is slipping away from her. Our Wives Under the Sea is a debut novel from the critically acclaimed author of Salt Slow. It's a story of falling in love, loss, grief, and what life there is in the deep, deep sea. When We Were Birds by Ayanna Lloyd Banwo, published by Hamish Hamilton on February the 10th, 2022. And this is a book that takes us to a town called Port Angeles in Trinidad. Darwin has left his Rastafari mother, who believes in the Rastafari religion, has never met his father, and he seeks his luck in Port Angeles in Trinidad. He meets a girl. Boy meets girl, JGD. JGD's mother is dying. JGD has a very special power. She has the power of speaking to the dead. The females in her family, in her ancestry, are descended from the blackbirds that fly east at sunset, taking with them the souls of the dead. They find one another on an ancient cemetery where trouble in Port Angeles is brewing up. So this is the story of JGD and Darwin from Trinidad Caribbean literature. The Falling Thread by Adam O'Riordan, published by Bloomsbury on November the 11th of 2021. This takes us back in time, about 120 years, 30 years actually, back to Manchester, to England. Charles is a young man from a middle-class family, pretty rich at the time of 1890. He's pursuing his little sister's governess, Hetty. They have an affair with consequences that will change both of their lives forever and ever. Charles' sisters, Tabitha and Eloise, are women of the new century, of the 20th century, and they experience a different Manchester. Then, a very dark shadow stretches threatening to engulf the whole world, which is World War I. A captivating family story that takes us from 1890 to World War I, to the chaos and to the horrible world war that unfolded. Burnt Coat, the next book, by Sarah Hall, published by Faber and Faber on October 8, 2021. Burnt Coat is a house. Burnt Coat is an art studio, and this is about, in an unnamed British city, this is about the celebrated sculptor Edith and her lover Halit. They get stuck when the pandemic with COVID-19 begins. Her, Edith Studio's Burnt Coat, gets transformed into a feverish world. This is a book about art, about mortality, about ambition, about connection, an urgent exploration of an unexpected crisis. And one of the books about COVID-19 that is on the market now. There are quite a lot of novels that deal with this. Vagabonds by Ilogusa Osunde, published by Fourth Estate on March 31, 2022, which takes us to Lagos, the big city, the biggest city in Nigeria, one of the biggest cities, if not the biggest city in Africa, actually. Trouble for the vagabonds powering modern Nigeria, the queer, the displaced, and the footloose. With Tatafu as our guide, we meet these people in the shadows. Among them are a driver for a debauched politician, a lesbian couple whose tender relationship sheds unexpected light on their experience with underground sex work, a mother who attends a secret spiritual gathering that shifts her reality, forces drawing them all together, but for what purpose? In her debut novel, Vagabonds, Ilogusa Osunde tackles the insidious nature of Nigeria's capitalism, corruption and oppression, and offers a defiant, joyous and inventive tribute to all those for whom life itself is a form of resistance. Great books on my Booker Dozen list, really. Blue-Skinned Gods by S.J. Sindhu, published by Legend Press on November 8, 2021. This is about, takes us to India. This is a boy named Kalki who is born with blue skin. He believes he is a Hindu god, but the truth is much, much darker. His father drags him to a tour through America, and the boy is pulled between India and pulled between America and his father's web of control that he tries to escape. Blue-Skinned Gods by S.J. Sindhu. Number 7 takes us to Glasgow, to Scotland, and this is The Voids by Ryan O'Connor, published by Scribe on March 10 of 2022. Another novel that takes us, in recent years, to the working class in Glasgow, a novel from a tower block there, about residents who slowly trickle away until a young man is left alone with the angels and devils in his mind. An unsparing story of a modern-day Britain told with brilliant flashes of humor and humanity. One of my favorites on that list that I can tell you is Cold Enough for Snow by Jessica Au, published by Fitzcarraldo Editions on February 23rd of 2022. A mother and daughter travel from abroad to meet in Tokyo. They walk along the canals through the autumn evenings, escape the typhoon rains, share meals in small cafes and restaurants, and visit galleries to see some of the city's most radical modern art. All the while they talk about the weather, horoscopes, about family, distance, and memory. But uncertainties abound. Who is really speaking here? Is it only the daughter? And what is the real reason behind this elliptical, perhaps even spectral journey? At once, a careful reckoning and analogy, Cold Enough for Snow, questions whether any of us speak a common language, which dimensions can contain love, and what claim we have to truly know another's inner world. Number 9, and hopefully this book is illegible, because Bob the Bookerer said in his video that it's not illegible, but I tried to check it up, and I think it is illegible. And if it is illegible, this is one of the huge favorites for this year's Booker Prize. From the United States of America, this is The Love Songs of W.E.B. Du Bois by Honoré Fanoni Jeffries. Ellie Pearl Garfield embarks on a journey through her family's past of 2 centuries. She uncovers the lives of her ancestors, black, indigenous, and white, in the deep American South. She must embrace her heritage, a legacy of oppression and resistance, bondage and independence, cruelty and resilience. And so many people have raved about this book. It's 800 pages. It is a debut novel, and it is absolutely worth being on the Booker long list. We have reached number 10, and this is Wayward by Dana Spiotta, published by Virago Press on January 13 of 2022. This is about a woman named Samantha Reynolds and about her life. Her mother is ill, her daughter is increasingly remote, she's staring into the midst in hours of wakefulness, contemplating her life, mortality, and the status of an unraveling nation. She falls in love with an arts and craft house on the wrong side of town, flees her suburban life trying to find beauty in ruins. Wayward by Dana Spiotta. Number 11, An Unusual Grief by Yewande Omotoso, published by Cassava Republic Press on November 27 of 2021. Another book from Africa. Mojisola's daughter has died. She had a difficult relation with her. She needs to come to terms with self-rediscovery as she moves into her daughter's apartment. Bolt, an unflinching tale of one woman's unconventional approach to loss. This woman moves into the apartment of her dead daughter and tries sort of to figure out what was my daughter like. And she tries to discover her daughter, and she discovers herself. And this is a very interesting book, also about grief and loss, like I had a few other novels that I realized were eligible for the Booker this year. The next one is number 12, and this is one of my favorite books of the year until now. It's Love Marriage by Monica Ali. And this is from England, published by Virago on February 3rd of 2021. This is the story of two young people, two young Londoners, a British-English guy from the upper class and his to-be wife, his bride, a woman with a background in Bangladesh who's also becoming a doctor. And it's about their marriage that is supposed to happen very soon in this year, and it's about all the things that get in the way for them, their families, their family stories, their own desires, their own thoughts, and their own problems, their own issues. And this is so well written by Monica Ali that I really love her to be on the long list of the Booker Prize of 2022. And now the last one, last but not least, by Joker. This is published on January 6, 2022 by River Run, and this is Zorri by Laird Hunt. He was already on the shortlist of the National Book Award of last year, but actually, because it was published in the UK on January 6, it should be very much eligible for the Booker Prize. Zorri is a great novel. It's a great book. It is a book about Zorri Underwood, a young girl becoming a woman, becoming an old woman, an elderly woman, and her life in the American Midwest in Indiana. A very easy life, a very rural life, a very beautiful life with a lot of joy, a lot of grief, just a normal life, but described in a very poetic and very short novel, which is nevertheless so intense that it will make you cry, that it will make you smile, and that it will leave a very strong impression. Zorri Underwood is one of the strongest characters I met in the last couple of years. And this completes my 13 books for the Booker dozen. Thanks very much for watching this video. What are your books that have to be on the long list? What are you waiting for? What are you longing for? Please let me know in the comments down below. And we'll see next week on Tuesday who has made it onto the real Booker Dozen list of 2022. See you then. Bye-bye.